Welcome back to Recap House. Limitless, a sci-fi thriller, will be shown to you today. Warning, this video contains spoilers. Take care and be careful. A loud banging on a metal door opens up a posh apartment filled with boxes of belongings. Two bodies are discovered after a brief tour of the high-end apartment complex. Eddie is standing on the edge of a balcony on top of the building. He hears two gunshots as he steps off the edge of the next apartment. His neighbor must have checked the noise. Eddie's door is being approached by someone who is yelling for entry. Eddie is sorry for himself. Is he jumping? Eddie is seen walking down the street with a completely different appearance just over a year prior. He claims to be a writer. He is talking to two guys about his novel, which no one believes he has a contract for, while drinking midday in a bar. It's unclear whether he believes it. He is seen later writing. Attempting to write, procrastinating. Until he finally decides to leave his apartment and go back out to drink. He doesn't write a word for a few weeks, if not months. He eventually loses his girlfriend Lindy. Eddie thinks it came out of nowhere, but it's clear that she doesn't. He gets ready to propose, but she brings back memories of Melissa, his previous wife. That marriage did not go as planned. Later, as he walks home, he runs into Vernon, his ex-brother-in-law, who makes him feel bad about himself as a whole. Eddie is not anticipating seeing him. Vernon persuades him to have a drink with him after a brief exchange in which they both lie to each other about their actions. He tells him about Melissa's situation as they visit a bar. After that, Vernon suggests that he can assist Eddie when they begin discussing Eddie's creative problems. He demonstrates the drug to him. It's a supposedly magical designer drug that lets you access your entire brain. Eddie doesn't believe it will help. He gives Vernon his business card and a free sample of the expensive drug because Vernon needs to leave. Eddie decides to take the drug while he is still wallowing in self-pity on his way home. When he enters his building, he meets Valerie, the wife of his landlord, who despises him. His thoughts are racing as she screams at him, and he wonders what the effects of the drug will be when it finally hits. He suddenly begins to notice everything he hadn't noticed before. The insignificant things about her and all around him. He surprises her by asking her what's wrong at one point. He begins accessing a variety of previously uncollected memories as they begin to discuss her studies. As she begins to warm up to him, he offers to assist her with her essay. They engage in sexual activity after the essay is completed. He suddenly realizes how filthy and disgusting his apartment is as he walks in. As a result, he gets to work cleaning and fixing it up, arranging everything so that it looks like a real home. His thoughts are crystal clear because of the drug. As a result, he concentrates solely on writing, which he knows he should be doing. This time, he is actually carrying it out. Eddie feels as though the drug has completely worn off when he awakens the following morning. He goes to see his publisher because the good news is that he still has the pages from his novel. Eddie asks her to read the draft and says that if she doesn't like it, he will return the advance. He receives new messages from her stating that what she read was brilliant as soon as he arrives home. When Eddie considers calling her back, he instead visits Vernon. He reluctantly lets him in and opens the doors for him, giving the impression that someone has beaten him up. Vernon tells him that he'll give him more of the drug, but he has to run some errands for him first because he knows why he's there. Eddie goes to get some breakfast and dry cleaning, but when he gets back, the apartment door is open. Vernon is sitting on his couch while the place has been completely vandalized. Eddie comes over and discovers that he has passed away. He calls the police right away, and while he waits for them to arrive, he realizes that the people who were supposedly looking for the drugs never found them. He then begins his own search. Eddie eventually discovers the drugs, Vernon's secret book, and some money. The door is suddenly opened by the police. He is later interrogated at a police station. Eddie and his narrative raise questions for the detective. Melissa makes an inquiry to Eddie by calling the desk of the detective. She tells him that she won't be attending Vernon's funeral and that she will contact him once everything is over. Eddie leaves the police station in a state of worry that someone is following him. When he gets home, he counts the money and takes one tablet. This sets up a sequence in which he completely rediscovers himself and the drug's power. He first gets a new haircut and outfit. Delivers his finished novel to his publisher. He picks up women by using his ability to quickly pick up new languages and learn to play the piano. He suddenly knows how to win at poker with Matt. He is able to impress everyone with his wit and ability to talk business with Wall Street types. He even receives a job offer from one of them. Eddie makes new friends who are wealthy and vacation with him in mansions with pools and private jets. However, he begins to act recklessly and requires increasing amounts of adrenaline. He realizes, at some point, that what he needs to do is not right. We see him again at his apartment, taking the drug and looking at the trade numbers. He doesn't have enough money to do what he wants to do by investing in trades. Eddie goes to a diner to look for a loan shark. He persuades him to contribute $1,000. The loan shark informs him of the consequences if he does not return the money when they meet for the drop in a park. He eventually accepts the earlier job offer and quickly figures out how to double his investment funds. Eddie gets a meeting with one of the larger financial players as a result of being noticed by them. During dinner, he tells Lindy about it and orders Italian to impress her. He apologizes to her and tries to win her back by charming her. They reunite and begin seeing each other once more. He has the impression that he is being followed as time passes and he achieves greater success. He starts to feel strange one night while Lindy is in his apartment. He meets Carl Van Loon for lunch the following day with his boss. Eddie tries to impress the man by describing his extravagant abilities in pattern recognition. Van Loon gives him a ride home from him and tells him to look over some documents in the car. Eddie gives him a review of what he's read when they get to his place. The man arranges a second meeting with him after being impressed. Eddie is too excited to go home, so he goes for a walk and thinks about his future, including the possibility of becoming president one day. He experiences a strange sensation once more as if time has changed completely. He continues to walk until he arrives at a bar, unaware of how he got there. After that, he is with one girl at a party and with another in a hotel. He thinks someone is following him. Later, he starts a fight in the subway after realizing that all he did was watch boxing and kung fu movies. Without being able to recall the final hours of his life, he stops suddenly on top of a bridge after running through the city. The following day, Eddie experiences horrible symptoms. He decides not to take another tablet and tries to read the documents Van Loon sent him, but they appear to be hard to read. Eddie arrives unprepared and sober for the meeting. Eddie can only concentrate on the television, where the news is reporting that the woman he was in the hotel with is dead. Van Loon keeps asking him questions expecting him to respond in a high-level way. He abruptly leaves the meeting. The phone rings when he gets home. Melissa is here. He requests a meeting with her later that day. Eddie calls the people on the list after recalling Vernon's black book. Everyone on the list has passed away or is seriously ill. He dials the final number for the man who followed him and is currently seated on the same bench as him. Eddie sees him and runs away while the man pursues him. In the end, he loses him by entering a taxi. When he meets Melissa, she tells him that she had used the drug as well and was barely able to survive when she stopped. She observes that he has also been taking it and advises him to gradually discontinue it or it could be fatal. As Eddie returns to his home, where the loan shark is waiting for him, his condition continues to deteriorate. The man consumes the last tablet he has taken. The man does not appear to be affected by the drug as Eddie grabs the money he owes him from the bank. Eddie gives him the money and he says he feels great, but his intelligence hasn't changed much yet. Eddie walks into Lindy's office later. He tells her everything and requests that she deliver the drugs he has hidden in her apartment. When Lindy gets there, she is able to easily locate them, but as she is returning to the office, she calls Eddie and informs him that a man is following her. The man appears to approach her as her taxi becomes stuck in traffic. She runs away when Eddie tells her to, and the man also pursues her. Lindy asks two men for assistance as she runs into a park. She flees once more as the man approaches them and stabs them both. Lindy goes into hiding and calls Eddie to express her fear and stuckness. She follows his instructions and takes one of the tablets. Lindy is suddenly affected as well by the drug. She experiences the same emotions as Eddie did when he first took it, and she immediately begins to flee, knowing exactly what to do. Until she incapacitates him and gets away, the man follows her wherever she goes. Eddie gets a tablet from Lindy when she gets there. Together, they check into a hotel. Eddie tries to persuade Lindy that he will get back on track as she gets ready to leave the following morning. She disagrees, however, after taking the drug herself. While she is afraid of the drug, he sees its benefits. She leaves despite Eddie's assurance that he will eventually stop using the drug. Eddie approaches the loan shark when he sees that he is waiting for him. He gives the man a few to quell his desire for more drugs. Later, He goes to see Van Loon and hires 2 bodyguards who follow him everywhere. Although Eddie makes an apology for the meeting by stating that he was sick, Van Loon retains the position because he has already won the man's trust. He helps Van Loon broker the largest merger in the company's history and gets back on his feet. He goes to a chemist and tells him that he will give him $1 million if he recreates the drug in months, rather than waiting until his supply runs out. The detective visits Eddie one day while he is eating lunch. He informs him that he has been identified as the person who fled the hotel after the young woman was killed. As a result, Eddie hires a top lawyer to save him. Later, while he and Van Loon are at a significant meeting to discuss the merger, he notices that one of the men from the opposing side, Atwood, is ill. The following day, they will meet again to sign the contract. Eddie tells Van Loon that what makes him so good at his job is a gift, not something earned through hard work, and he threatens him not to make him his competition. Eddie returns to the hotel to find that his room has been trashed. He purchases the extravagant apartment seen at the beginning of the movie. He runs into the loan shark once more later, this time completely transformed. He warns Eddie that if he doesn't bring him more tablets, he'll tell his boss about the trouble he's having with the police. Eddie and Van Loon are waiting for Atwood to sign the merger documents the following day. His wife comes to their offices to inform them that he is sick when he does not show up, but he will sign the contract when he is better. Eddie notices that the man who had been following him is getting into the car with her as they walk her out of the building. The drug was making her husband sick. Eddie joins a line after meeting his lawyer at a police station. He is fortunate not to be picked out. Instead of waiting for the loan shark, he returns to the Van Loon office, where he is watching the news. The merger is being reported on by them. He hears from his new boss that Atwood is dying, but he is furious about it. Concerned about the merger, he is. Eddie leaves when he realizes he needs to take another tablet but can't find his supply. When a package arrives, he returns to the office. When Van Loon opens the package, he discovers Eddie's bodyguard's severed hands as he continues to press for information he believes Eddie has. He leaves quickly and returns to his apartment. He watches the news there, where Atwood's wife makes a statement instead of lying about the merger. The interview is taken over by her attorney, who is also his attorney. When the loan shark rings the doorbell, he is prompted to open it. Eddie is then shown standing on the balcony's edge. He never jumps. He scrambles to locate one more tablet as he tries to recall where he might have left one. He drops it when he does, and the loan shark enters his apartment at the same time. Eddie is sat down by his gang members as he explains that he injects the drug through a vein with a solution. While torturing Eddie for the information, he shoots up and orders his men to locate Eddie's stash. Eddie stabs their boss as he leans over, but the robbers are trying to open his safe so they won't hear. In order to get high on the drug, he kills him and consumes his blood. He knows how to fight criminals because it works. He eliminates one of them, followed by the other. Atwood, meanwhile, passes away at the hospital. Eddie enters that location and can be seen seated next to the man who followed him. Later, the same man helps him locate additional drugs in the lawyer's apartment, where Atwood stole his stash. Eddie has published a book and is running for Senate a year later. In his office, Van Loon is waiting. They have a brief conversation, but Van Loon informs him that he is aware of the drug. He informs him that his laboratory was shut down that morning and that if he agrees to work for him in the future, he will be able to provide him with the drug. They go to lunch together after leaving the office, but Eddie won't get in the car or work with Van Loon. Eddie informs him that he learned how to alter the drug and how to abstain from it while maintaining all of its beneficial effects. He can see everything and cannot be stopped. Eddie forbids Van Loon from working with him and sends him on his way. He walks to a restaurant, where he meets Lindy. The movie ends. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this. Your subscription is very valuable to us.